If you are over 50 and you are not doing this one thing every single day, your cancer risk is measurably, scientifically, documentably higher than it needs to be. Not slightly higher, significantly higher. And the most devastating part is that this habit costs nothing. It requires no prescription, no doctor's appointment, no special equipment. It is available to you right now, today, this morning. And the majority of people over 50 are either not doing it at all or doing it in exactly the wrong way that eliminates most of its protective effect. I am Dr. Queen, and in senior healthcare, I have watched the research on cancer prevention accumulate for decades. What the science now shows, confirmed by a landmark study from Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health that followed over 116,000 adults for 28 years, is that one specific category of daily lifestyle habits reduces overall cancer risk by up to 61% in adults over 50. Not a supplement, not a pharmaceutical, a habit. And today, I am going to give you the most important component of that habit, explain exactly why it works at the cellular level, and tell you precisely how to implement it starting today. But first, I need you to understand what is happening inside your body right now, because without this context, the habit will seem too simple to take seriously. And that underestimation is exactly why most people do not do it consistently enough to receive its full protective benefit. After the age of 50, 3 things happen simultaneously inside your body that create the biological conditions in which cancer thrives. Your body's DNA repair mechanisms begin declining. Your immune system's ability to identify and destroy abnormal cells weakens. And the chronic low-grade inflammation that drives cancer initiation, the same inflammation linked to heart disease, diabetes, and cognitive decline, becomes harder for your body to suppress naturally. These 3 changes do not happen overnight. They happen gradually, invisibly, without any symptoms. Your blood tests look normal. Your annual checkup shows nothing alarming. And meanwhile, the cellular environment that allows cancer to establish itself is quietly forming. The habit I am about to describe addresses all 3 of these processes simultaneously, not one of them, all 3, through mechanisms that are now among the most replicated findings in cancer biology. This is not emerging science. This is established, peer-reviewed, clinically confirmed science that your doctor simply does not have time to explain in a 12-minute appointment. The habit is restorative sleep, but not sleep in the general sense that everyone already knows is important. Specifically, the deep, slow-wave sleep that occurs in stages 3 and 4 of the sleep cycle, achieved only when you sleep at the right time, in the right environment, for the right duration, consistently, without exception. And the reason most people over 50 are not achieving this, even people who believe they sleep well, is a combination of biological changes and behavioral mistakes that silently rob the sleep of its most powerful protective functions. Here is what happens during deep sleep that nothing else can replicate. Your brain activates the glymphatic system, a waste clearance network that uses cerebrospinal fluid to flush toxic proteins and damaged cellular debris from neural tissue. This process runs almost exclusively during deep sleep and stops almost entirely during waking hours. Every night you fail to reach adequate deep sleep, the cellular debris accumulates. Damaged DNA fragments that were not cleared become the raw material for mutations. This is not theoretical. Research from the University of Rochester demonstrated that the glymphatic system is 10 times more active during sleep than during waking, and that disrupted sleep leads to measurable accumulation of the same toxic proteins associated with neurological disease and systemic cellular dysfunction. During the same deep sleep phases, your body produces its highest concentrations of melatonin. Most people think of melatonin as a sleep hormone. It is far more than that. Melatonin is one of the most potent endogenous antioxidants in human biology. A comprehensive review published in the journal Cancer Research in 2021 confirmed that melatonin directly inhibits tumor angiogenesis, meaning it blocks cancer from building the new blood vessels it needs to grow and spread. Melatonin simultaneously activates natural killer cells, the specialized immune cells whose primary function is to identify and destroy abnormal cells before they establish themselves as tumors. These are not minor effects. These are fundamental cancer prevention mechanisms that your body is designed to run every single night during deep sleep. Now, here is the part that should genuinely alarm you. Melatonin production declines by up to 70% between the ages of 40 and 70. By the time you are 65, your body is producing almost negligible amounts of melatonin during sleep compared to what it produced at 40. Your most powerful internal anti-cancer mechanism is running at a fraction of its biological capacity. And every behavioral mistake that further disrupts your sleep, and there are several that are extremely common in adults over 50, reduces it further still. A 2019 study from the International Agency for Research on Cancer classified chronic sleep disruption as a probable human carcinogen, not a risk factor. A carcinogen. The same classification applied to certain industrial chemicals and pesticides. Adults over 60 who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours per night have cancer mortality rates that are measurably and significantly higher than adults who achieve 7 to 8.5 hours, according to a 20-year cohort study from the University of California, San Diego. A 2022 analysis confirmed that inadequate sleep is independently associated with increased risk of colorectal cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer, cancers that together affect millions of adults over 50 every year. The reason most adults over 50 do not achieve adequate deep sleep has nothing to do with laziness or indifference. It is a combination of biological changes and specific environmental mistakes that compound each other. After 60, the architecture of sleep changes. You spend less time in deep, slow-wave sleep and more time in lighter stages. You wake more easily and more frequently. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs sleep and wake cycles, becomes less robust and more sensitive to disruption. These biological changes cannot be fully reversed, but they can be substantially compensated for by removing the behavioral and environmental factors that make them worse. The first and most impactful mistake is inconsistent sleep timing. Your circadian rhythm is governed by a master clock in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This clock synchronizes every biological process in your body: hormone production, immune function, DNA repair, cellular metabolism, to a precise 24-hour cycle. When your sleep and wake times vary by more than 30 minutes from day to day, this synchronization degrades. The hormone cascades that should occur at specific times occur at the wrong times or not at all. Melatonin production is suppressed. Natural killer cell activity is reduced. DNA repair enzymes are less active during the cellular vulnerability window they are designed to protect. Consistency of sleep timing is not a preference. It is a biological requirement for the cancer protective functions of sleep to operate at full capacity. Set a fixed bedtime and wake time. Maintain them every day, including weekends. The circadian rhythm does not recognize days off. The second mistake is light exposure after dark. Light, particularly the blue wavelength light emitted by phones, tablets, televisions, and LED lighting, suppresses melatonin production through direct signaling from the retina to the pineal gland. A single hour of bright screen exposure before bed can delay melatonin onset by 90 minutes and reduce its peak concentration by over 50%. In adults over 50 who already produce significantly less melatonin than younger adults, this additional suppression is not trivial. It is the difference between a melatonin level that activates cancer-protective immune function and a level that does not. All screens must be eliminated at minimum 60 minutes before sleep. Amber-tinted lighting in the evening hours reduces blue light exposure without requiring complete darkness. The third mistake is sleeping in a room that is too warm. Your core body temperature must drop by approximately 2 degrees Fahrenheit to initiate and maintain deep sleep. When the sleeping environment is too warm, this temperature drop is incomplete. You spend less time in deep, slow-wave sleep and more time in lighter stages. The glymphatic system activation is reduced. Melatonin production is impaired. The optimal sleeping temperature is between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. This feels uncomfortably cool to many people, particularly older adults who experience reduced circulation. The solution is to keep the room cool while using adequate bedding for warmth. Your core temperature must drop. Your skin surface can remain warm. The fourth mistake is eating within 3 hours of sleep. Active digestion competes directly with the cellular repair and immune activation processes that deep sleep is designed to support. When your digestive system is actively processing food, the metabolic resources and hormonal signals that should be directing cellular maintenance are partially redirected. Blood glucose elevation from a late meal suppresses growth hormone secretion, a hormone that peaks during deep sleep and plays a direct role in cellular repair and immune surveillance. Finish your last meal or snack at minimum 3 hours before your intended sleep time. This is not about caloric restriction. It is about giving your body the hormonal and metabolic conditions it requires for deep sleep to do its most important work. The fifth mistake is consuming caffeine after noon. Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors in the brain. Adenosine is the chemical that builds sleep pressure throughout the day, the biological signal that tells your body it is time for deep restorative sleep. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 7 hours in the average adult, and this half-life lengthens with age as liver metabolism slows. A cup of coffee consumed at 2 in the afternoon still has significant adenosine-blocking activity at 9 in the evening in many adults over 60. The result is that the transition into deep sleep is delayed, its duration is shortened, and the melatonin and natural killer cell activity that depend on adequate deep sleep are both reduced. Cut caffeine consumption entirely after noon. Now I want to address the compound effect of implementing all of these changes simultaneously, because this is where the research becomes genuinely remarkable. A study published in the journal Nature and Aging found that adults who achieved consistent 7 to 8 hours sleep with proper timing, darkness, temperature control, and late meal avoidance showed immune profiles, specifically natural killer cell counts and activity levels, that were significantly higher than age-matched controls with disrupted sleep. The difference in natural killer cell activity between optimal and poor sleepers in this study was comparable to the immune difference between a healthy 50-year-old and a healthy 30-year-old. Optimized sleep does not just maintain immune function. It partially reverses the age-related decline that makes cancer more likely to establish itself. Combine this with what morning light exposure does to amplify the effect. Natural light in the first 30 minutes after waking, direct outdoor light, not through a window, anchors the circadian rhythm and directly increases evening melatonin output by signaling the suprachiasmatic nucleus to run its 24-hour cycle at maximum amplitude. Morning light and sleep optimization work together as a system. Each makes the other more effective. 10 to 15 minutes of outdoor light exposure within 30 minutes of waking, combined with the 5 sleep corrections I described, creates a biological environment in which your natural cancer surveillance systems operate at the highest capacity your age allows. You cannot control your genetics. You cannot fully control your exposure history, but you can control what happens inside your body every single night for the rest of your life. Every night of optimized deep sleep is a night in which your glymphatic system runs its full clearance cycle, your melatonin reaches its biological peak, your natural killer cells are fully activated, and your DNA repair mechanisms have the time and resources they need to correct the cellular errors that accumulate every day. Every night of disrupted, shortened, or poorly timed sleep is a night those systems run at reduced capacity, and the cellular errors they did not correct carry forward. The research does not have an age limit. Whether you are 55 or 75, your body retains the capacity to produce more melatonin, activate more natural killer cells, and run more effective cellular repair when you give it the conditions it requires. Those conditions cost nothing. They require no prescription. They begin tonight. I am Dr. Queen. Protect your sleep. It is the most powerful cancer prevention tool available to you, and it has been inside you all along.